To members of the LGBT community, President Bill Clinton will be remembered for a couple of things. One, the first president that actually said the word gay, and the president who passed an especially notorious piece of legislation, DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act. Tonight, our two guests are a couple fighting DOMA. Welcome, Paul G. and Raul Sinenses. So you've had quite the story over the last few years, and I've read the chronology, but for our guest, talk to us about how you met and how you came to fight DOMA.
Well, those are kind of two separate issues, but we met as a lot of people do at a party that we both attended in Los Angeles, and dated for a while, got married, and some things changed in Raul's status. And
because you're an American citizen, correct?
I am an American citizen.
And Raul?
I'm a Filipino citizen.
Got it. And when you say you got married, you were married legally in the state of California in that window in 2008, correct?
Correct.
So then let's go from there. So an American married to a Filipino citizen, how does DOMA get involved in this?
Well, I think DOMA just doesn't include the LGBT population as actual family, so we're excluded from all equal rights that a straight couple would have otherwise.
And because of the Defense of Marriage Act, you've actually, or you were threatened with deportation, correct? Talk to me about that.
Okay, I was on deportation proceedings just because I lost my sponsorship. But then we used our marriage for him to petition me to get a green card. But because of DOMA, under the federal level, they don't recognize our marriage as on the federal level.
Right, and let's be clear, federal law is such that if you're a heterosexual married couple and you're an American citizen and you're a woman, say, and your husband is a Filipino citizen, you can sponsor him to come here. And that's typically just pro forma. It happens probably hundreds of times every day, correct?
Correct.
So what was the process? You decided to use your marriage in California as a way to challenge this deportation, correct?
Correct.
And what happened?
We went to court, and then luckily President Obama sent out a memo, and that memo made the judge make a decision on his own because DOMA was unconstitutional, and he made the decision for closing my case just because of me as not having any criminal records, and President Jean Kwan also wrote a letter saying that, you know, Raul's a good citizen, he's been contributing, and he's an asset to the, you know, community, and you should reconsider.
Right.
It was actually discretional by the judge.
And which judge was it? This was a federal judge, correct?
No, this was a
it's
judge here in San Francisco, actually.
USCIS judge. So he was an immigration judge, and so he made that decision and closed my case.
So what is the status now? Have all proceedings stopped?
Functionally, yes. My understanding is that our Rose case is closed, but could theoretically be reopened at some point.
Because the Defense of Marriage Act still exists. I mean, people don't realize that this piece of legislation is still the law of the land. I mean, I think there's been a lot of attention about don't ask, don't tell, but the Defense of Marriage Act is still on the books.
Yes, well, unfortunately, just because Obama puts out a memo doesn't mean that the laws are changed. There are a lot of challenges that are happening at this point, and beyond that. I mean, to take away rights of, you know, gay and lesbian people.
How did this make you feel, just as a couple? I mean, did you ever expect that you would become, you know, two of the poster kids for taking Defense of Marriage Act out?
Actually, it happened so fast,
Uh-huh.
and in our mind, it was mind-blowing when we got the letter
Uh-huh.
and hearing it from our lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we didn't think that. Being that we're gay and that we are in love and we are married and we're homeowners and we have a garden and jobs and tropical fish, and we just live our lives, and then it seems that all these laws are in place to oppress us or exclude us from being American citizens and happy and
Right.
here.
And now, what is your status now? You're a Filipino citizen. Is your eventual hope to become an American citizen, or is that now? How does that impacted by DOMA, by the Defense of Marriage Act?
It's still up on the air,
Mm-hmm.
just because DOMA still exists, and depending on the federal courts whether they would repeal DOMA or not,
Mm-hmm.
then there's a chance that Peter could petition me as his spouse.
And I have already done that. I filed a I-130, which we passed the initial interview with flying colors.
Uh-huh. And explain for us what is an IM30? What does that mean?
It's actually I-130, and it's basically just a petition for the American citizen, which is me, to have Raul become, the stage is to get a green card at first.
Yeah.
And so you go in and get interviewed, and the interrogator says, what side of the bed do you sleep on, et cetera, to see if we're actually a
Couple.
real couple.
They
or
really
not.
ask you that question?
Yes, they
Wait,
do.
wait,
Not that particular one, but some things
But I
similar
mean,
to
personal
that.
questions. And this is someone who works for, I would assume, the Department of Homeland Security.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes.
Because that's not what immigration is under. So you follow this form, as you would if you were a straight couple,
Right.
to sponsor your wife or vice versa. And you go in, and you have to prove that it's not like the Sandra Bullock movie where you marry someone to get your green card. I mean,
Right.
let's be
Yeah,
frank,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they ask you questions to prove you're married.
Well, fortunately, we have a lot of backup too. There's already been a number of newspaper articles written about us, and wedding photos, family photos.
And you bring those with you?
We actually
did-
turned those in with
did,
our
we
attorney,
did.
and we had a stack of evidence
Cards.
showing that we're actually living together and that we're a married couple, and
Well, and I imagine you could present the marriage certificate. I mean, you were married. Where you were married in San Francisco or Oakland?
West Hollywood.
Oh, I'm sorry, in LA. And it was during that window in 2008, same one that my husband were married in. So you had
Okay,
the wedding,
wonderful.
you had the certificate.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough.
No, it wasn't enough, and it. We went through the same interview that a heterosexual couple would go through.
You think that ask them the same questions in the same way? I mean, honestly, I'm curious.
I don't have anything to judge it on, so my suspicion is probably. But the point was that we passed it with flying colors. Unfortunately, as it left our agent's hands, it went further up into the ranks, and it was denied at the highest level. So we're sort of back down.
All right, so what do
here
we mean
again.
denied at the highest level? The Secretary of Homeland Security?
When you apply for a I-130,
Yes.
all you receive is a letter from Homeland Security saying, "We're sorry that we deny this because of DOMA."
Right.
That's
And
all
so,
they
and
say.
it actually says that because of DOMA. So you have
Correct.
that letter.
Yes.
So even though, as you say, it's not enough that President Obama, as president of the and head of the executive branch, says, "I think this is wrong," which he has, and campaigned on repealing it, his Department of Homeland Security has to still follow because this law has been passed by Congress and signed into law by President Clinton.
Yes.
How does that make you? I mean, on just a human level, does it just kind of frustrate you sometimes and say, "My goodness, what's all the fuss about?"
It frustrates me. I like I said, I never expected to be at the center of this issue. We're just trying to live our lives as simply as we can. So yeah, there is frustration.
All right. How important do you think this next presidential election is to your chances?
Well, I don't know. It might change it, you know, but we're hoping that the next president, whoever it is, makes the right decision on DOMA.
Right. Before this, leaving aside the legacy of DOMA, does that color your feelings of the Clinton administration? I mean, I was talking about how, you know, many people said he was a very pro-gay president. Then he signed arguably two of the most regressive gay bills in American history. Don't Ask, Don't Tell and DOMA.
I believe that he came out recently in support of Obama's memo and declared that he had made a mistake, admitted that he did make a mistake, and is in support, certainly Hillary is, of marriage equality in this country. And I think it just reflects the sign of the times during his presidency. So although I do blame him, it's not entirely was his decision, I think.
Yeah. In our last few seconds, tell us what the next step is for you. Where do you go from here? Back to court, or you wait to hear from your lawyer?
We wait to hear from Camille.
You wait to hear?
Camille Becker, our lawyer.
Right. Well, I wish you both luck.
Thank
We've
you.
been speaking with Peter G. and Raul Sinenses. I'm David Perry. Thanks for watching 10%. We hope you'll tune in next week. Good night.